Good evening, good evening. Today is Tuesday, May the 10th. It is now 7:01, and we will call the Raymore Arts Commission meeting. If I could have a roll call, please.
Bob Berry.
Present.
Jessica Berry.
Present.
Randy Crumweedy.
Present.
Lauren Jones.
Present.
Cole Young.
Present.
Pat Setzer, absent.
All right, well, that does constitute as a quorum. If I could have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is well on this hot spring day. Albeit we have no public comments, we will move right into presentations. And we have Mr. Dylan Eppert, the city planner, here to share some things with us. So Dylan, I'll let you take the floor.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Commission. I do appreciate you all for having me tonight. I just want to introduce myself initially. I'm Dylan Eppert. I'm the city planner here for the city of Raymore. I came on in September, and just giving you all an update on the future land use plan and really just what the city's been working on as far as the comprehensive plan overall, and delve into a little bit more specifics as far as specifics for the Arts Commission. Talk about potential locations in which art would be preferred to have, as well as start getting your minds thinking about funding sources, those things to be able to have the art that you would like to have. Delving into it, you all should have a packet, just some supplemental documentation. Your first page is essentially front and back. It's going to show you a very rough outline of the comprehensive plan as a whole, and where the Arts Commission would fit under is essentially the beautiful and safe places, safe, well-designed places. The next page is going to show you, we have identified 42 different locations that had either a cleanup item or a proposed new change. We have 2 new designations, one of which being the rural density, that it will actually, let's see, on your map, it's the largest swath there, number 23. That was identified as having no ability to be able to be sewered. And so that was an initiative that the city staff took on to do a study that showed where we can actually have public services and where we cannot. And that actually helped us out to be able to identify where our growth is going to be, because where we can't have sewer, it's going to be larger lots, so it's going to have a lesser population. The next one is activity centers, and I think this is where you all come in immensely. We've identified a couple different activity centers, and one of which, and I'm just going to start from the west and work our way to the east, is going to be what is called the Pork Chop, and that's going to be just north of North Cass Parkway and west of Dean. This area is identified as kind of a mixed use, and that's what you'll find typically through this activity center, is that these are all going to be developments that are going to have, they're not going to be able to sustain one zoning designation that the city has currently. There's going to be multiple uses, so that's going to be either big box retail or residential pieces that are attached to that. But what we're hoping to identify through this meeting is just areas in which you would like to have public art, and how the city staff can start working on a funding source to make these happen. A lot of times we can use that as a bargaining chip for developers, but similar to what the park board already does is that there's a parkland dedication fee. And so what are some ways that we can talk through trying to get some funding that essentially you all just don't have right now, and that's what we need to figure out. And so I know right now city staff is working kind of in the background to do that research. There's a couple of cities on the Kansas side that have it, and found out recently today that Blue Springs has it. But that's what we're going to need to identify as a funding source, and then where we want these pieces of public art, such as the seed pod. So with that pork chop, what's been described, we've had several renderings for marketing purposes, primarily for developers when they come in. It provides a better visual for them to be able to see what could happen with this site. And so a lot of what we've sent out is on the northern half, it's residential. Meanwhile, on the southern half, it's supported by largely commercial and entertainment type uses. So this would be a destination type area. Meanwhile, when we transition up to the north, which is number 29, that's going to be essentially where the new road of Westgate was constructed. So on both the east and west side, it's identified as an area in which it's going to either be big box retail with a mixture of residential uses, or to the west of that is actually a couple of duplexes and some restaurants that can afford to be either redeveloped or just looked at further for incentive pieces. And so with that seed pod already being there, I don't know if it's of interest to have something off of Kentucky just welcoming people to Raymore, or if it's too close to the seed pod. And so just some areas to be thinking about as I walk you all through this. And let me know if I'm going too fast or if you've got things. This is kind of an open dialogue. Definitely want feedback. And you know what? Even if it's not specifically Arts Commission, and it's just, hey, as a citizen, I've got concerns or something, please let me know. On that note, Ms. Harmer and I are working diligently to have an interactive mapping system that is available to the public, I believe, starting next week. And so with that being said, it's actually going to allow you to go to this map and be able to put in your comments, and we can generate a report off of that to essentially get your input and make sure that we're hearing the citizens of Raymore. Moving a little bit further to the east, this is now more towards the city center. It's going to include number 30, 31, and 32. So this is going to be the Dean property, this is going to be Willow Wind, and then it's kind of a shared property between the United Methodist and the Lutheran Church. Those areas have been identified as a good city center, and so would it be a benefit to have that more identified towards a downtown? I know that the city has always talked about having a downtown, and really this is the time where we identify that area. And so when a developer comes in, we have a little bit more say. Everything that comes with an activity center is probably going to be leaning more towards an incentivized piece, because the city is going to want to have specific things in place to be able to have, I guess, our say without the developer just coming in and saying, here's everything we want to do. By the way, we want some money as well. So right next door is essentially Municipal Circle, so right where we're at. I know it's always been talked about that was going to be the original downtown, but through really just further research and just seeing how developments played out, we're too far off of 58. There's not enough visibility. There's not enough pull to make this into a downtown. And so therefore we've kind of transitioned into the idea of a civic center or a governmental area in which, you have either some more state buildings or licensing bureau or library, those types of things, to where everybody can kind of come here and it's a one-stop shop for anything you may need. Anything so far? I feel like I'm going really fast, and I apologize. Sure.
It was my understanding we did have some stuff that was going to be developed right there on the corner of Fox Ridge and 58 on the southwest side. I believe Hy-Vee was going to put in a little market and gas station. Did that fall? Is that gone? I know it was put on hold.
So they are still the property owners. We've just not heard anything from them. So I know with COVID and everything, that kind of defeated their concept plan of kind of that fresh market that you see on the Belton side, where it's essentially a real quick convenience store almost with a delivery option. That has since kind of ceased, and really Hy-Vee has not reached back out, but that is still owned currently by Hy-Vee. So.
On 32 and 33, when you say kind of a downtown, are you thinking like a walkable district, or what's kind of the vision there?
So 30 and 32, actually. 33 is the Municipal Circle, so I do apologize
sorry about
for
that.
that.
30 and 32.
I'm sorry about that. As far as that goes, yeah, it's going to be more walkable. Right now, that specifically number 30, it's bisected by a stream buffer, and so the hope is that can actually be phased into 2 phases, but have the ability to have either trails or something of that nature that will connect both to make it feel almost like a community within a community. Anything else? Okay, perfect. moving a little bit forward, just in the 6 months that I've been here, I've probably heard this a dozen times. As you get further out east, everybody seems to feel like they're forgotten about almost. And so our hope is to really put an emphasis on the essentially 58 corridor where Madison and all of our local businesses have existed for many years. And so it's time that we help those local businesses. And one of the things that we're endeavoring right now is the 353. And so we're discussing kind of criteria for how a business owner or a landlord can actually go in and get incentivized to either give the building a facelift or maybe move their parking from the front to the rear to where the buildings are closer up and make it feel like a more pedestrian friendly. We've also talked about some traffic flow configurations that would actually slow down traffic, because I know right now it's a nightmare trying to pull out if you're at Sonic or if you're at really anywhere trying to go at an area that has some topography issues. It's just difficult to get out there. And so how can we fix that to where people want to stick around? And I know everything's been talked about how we always try to help out the big businesses, and this is our chance to be able to help out the local businesses and know that they're cared about just as much as any other business. So that corridor will actually extend from essentially Arabian all the way down to Kurzweil. So that will actually help out even some of the businesses a little bit further. There's a lot of kind of piecemealed, if you will, commercial areas that are just beyond the initial write-up on 58. Those would be included as well. We're definitely gearing this more towards a commercial area. So if you're a residential home in the area, that's probably not going to be something that we initially incentivize, but have definitely looked at. But this is definitely going to be geared towards commercial businesses. I know that's really it as far as the activity centers. I know that we've got a couple of things in the works as far as just with our Raymore Commerce Center. You know, we definitely have the three bigger buildings that are coming up, and so that's definitely driven a lot of interest on North Cass. And so I know one of the things that was talked about is there's a project right now that's going to actually be in front of Planning Commission on Tuesday, that the southern portion of that land may be having some type of welcoming monument sign or something of that nature. That's the southern piece that when people are coming north, that they see a welcome to Raymore. And so I know that was an idea that was brought up, but I would definitely like to hear your thoughts and potential locations for where you'd like to see some art.
I know that was something we mentioned, or it was mentioned maybe a year ago during a working session, was that there was really no southern welcome. And I know the initial discussion was like maybe Lucy Webb, or no, North Cass and Madison, but I think the majority of people driving that are driving from the high school back to home. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good idea to have it kind of in that southern North Cass Parkway area.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get clear on where we're talking about. That's right at the exit there I'm sorry.
So it'll actually be number 2 on your map. It's the furthest section that's highlighted just with some slashes through it. Almost looks like a pie.
I see it. Thank you. Yeah, I think I would be in agreement with that.
Perfect. Okay. Yes, sir.
Any thought to coming in from the east?
The east is hard just because I know that there's a potential for growing, and so the hard part is, do we put a monument sign where we may continue to extend our eastern boundary, and then it becomes almost obsolete as soon as we put it in. And so obviously that's all through annexation, and so that's not a guarantee that we ever go any further than our boundary. And so maybe it's and I'm not saying specifically just welcome to our eastern portion of Raymore, but whether that be just kind of welcoming people to Raymore, or just have another sculpture kind of like the Seed Pod, where people want to go there just because they know it's there and they want to take pictures or something of that nature, where you draw folks in, so.
I think, you know, a lot of this is, you know, literally from 10,000 feet. So it's a little like, okay, let's see if we can, you know, if we had more of a bus tour, maybe get on our own, look around and say, oh, this would be perfect. Because I can see we have a rotating art program that we've started and we're going to.
Is your mic on?
I'm sorry, my mic is on. I'm just way over here. Apologies. I am. I'm driving YouTube crazy right now. We have a rotating art program that we're starting, and we're getting it back in gear. And you know, some of this that you're showing us, we could do something every block. We could do something that. So of course, yeah, funding is going to be huge for something like that, because I know we don't have those resources as of now to do as much as what we're doing. But I also know this isn't going to roll out all at once, too.
Sure.
So.
Sure. And the reason I pointed out these activity centers is because I know that a lot of times these developers will come in with what we call a master plan. And so this will actually, instead of just piecemealing it, they'll have an entire section of land that will they've got all the schedule of fees and when they're actually going to be, when they'll actually be doing each phase within the development, as opposed to just coming in and saying, here, we're going to put a McDonald's right here, and then we never know what's going to happen. So when they come in with a master plan, it's easy to say, you know, the city's going down an endeavor of trying to, you know, do some more public art. You know, we can use that as kind of a bargaining chip, but it's easier if we have something in place with our code that actually gives us kind of some backing, that if they push back that, well, okay, if you don't want to do that, then here's the other mechanisms that you would have to, you know, essentially deal with, so.
So is there any phase of this that we would need to really be thinking about now that's going to roll out sooner than another?
Well, you're wanting me to tip my hand, huh? Well, here, I can tell you some areas in which we've received interest. And so I know number 29, Westgate, we've received interest there. But obviously you've got the seed pod, and so it's like, how do we oversaturate one area for another? And then we've also received some interest with number 30 as well.
What's the, I know we talked about activity centers. I'm just thinking, like, as you talk about kind of that curve there at Madison, where it curves in, you're talking about, you know, condensing down.
Sorry.
I mean, when I'm thinking about art, that's almost like a welcome to you talk about the cities within a city kind of thing,
Right.
you know, kind of there by near the post office or something like that, almost like an entrance to the, I know that there's discussion at one point about making that kind of a different kind of activity center as well.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of things that come to mind with that. The first is being almost like an archway that just kind of expands over 58 that just says welcome to downtown or welcome to the marketplace or whatever it ends up being, you know, called. Or other cities have done almost more like a pedestrian area where essentially they could walk over. And so making that somewhat of an art feature, I think is doable. It's just, you know, how much is it going to cost and how can we make it happen?
Could do it like kind of like the Independence Avenue Bridge too, where we could see how many trailer trucks we could catch rolling through.
Is there, I'm trying to think of the name of the streets over there, the older downtown, is there any interest in any of that area over there? I think it's maybe Walnut, or, do you know what I'm talking about?
For
Where
all of Original Town, essentially?
yeah.
I know that I have been in conversations with Renee over at the Historical Society, trying to do some type of mural on her. there's a garage that faces right off of 58, and she is heavily interested in trying to do something with that. Having it to work, because nobody really knows that they're there after moving from the funeral home in the basement. They now have this location, and nobody knows that they've moved. So she had brought up the fact of a mural, and I think the city would be in full support of something like that. I know we had talked about either getting a couple of students from RAPEC to try and have some type of proposal or something of that nature, to where that would be an invitation to original town. So
Thank you.
Anything else, Cool Kids?
I think that was really all I had. That was really all I had. I just wanted to be able to introduce this, and again, this future land use plan is not just the activity centers and not just for art. And so if you guys have anything, definitely feel free to contact Ms. Harmer or go on the interactive map or contact us, because we really do want to hear from people, and this comprehensive plan can't be comprehensive without your all's input.
No, we definitely appreciate it. I know that everybody individually will probably delve into this a little bit more over the next couple of weeks, and then we can kind of communicate with Melissa and with each other and just kind of probably start spitballing like we normally do. So thank you much. Did you guys have anything else? Thank you, kind sir. Okay, we will move on to committee updates, and I believe all we have this week is a staff report. So Melissa, I'll let you take over.
Thank you. I just wanted to add on to what Mr. Eppert was saying. We have a community conversation on July 27th at Centerview in the evening. A lot of people got this today, so if you haven't gotten this in the mail yet, it should be in your mailbox soon. There's information on there, and then also on our website, and we'll be pushing that information out. But a strong showing by the Arts Commission would be appreciated if you can put that on your calendar. And my other updates are just that I have ordered 2 banners for the Hawk Ridge Park Bridge that have our Summer of Music and then the concert dates on them. And since this magazine came out today, I have checked our text line. You also have opportunity to sign up for text reminders for our arts events by texting Raymore Arts to 91896. And a bunch of people have signed up today. So that's how I knew that the magazines made it. And then I am chatting with Sharon Paris of the Tri-County Art League about some interactive, perhaps a plein air painting contest for all ages at Summer Scene. And I can get these watercolor paint sets that are like 36 colors with the water brush, so we don't have to have cups of water, and a sketch pencil and brushes for like $10 at Sam's Club. So I think I'm gonna grab 50 of those, and we will run with whatever help that the Tri-County Art League would like to give us for Summer Scene for an interactive activity. And then the rest of that planning is coming along. That is all I have for my report this evening. I'm sure there's going to be something I've forgotten that'll chime in at the end, but that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Melissa? How can we help? That's my question.
You would think by now I would be able to. Okay, we're frozen. State of the art here. I'm sorry about that. So oh, here we go. One moment. Okay, we're gonna restart. One more thing, we had our first concert on last Wednesday, and it was so rainy and a terrible day. There were not that many people there, but the musician was excellent. He was very good. So hopefully we can have him back next year.
Yeah, I know the Journal went live a couple of times, so I know that it looks like he had some people viewing for the time that he went live, but I know the Midwest weather never seems to work with us.
Not a great day. Lots of rain.
Yeah. Is there anything we can do to help you as you move forward with your planning?
No, I'll reach out if I need something. And I think that we have somebody covering every event except for the one that I just now updated today on this list. There's a September 1st event at Hawkridge Park with a rock cover band. But otherwise, thank you for everyone for signing up for all of the other events for the passports.
You can just sign me up. I'm putting it on my calendar now.
I didn't even notice your name wasn't on there.
On the
Okay,
calendar.
so is it okay if I just give you the paper copy of this?
Sure.
Okay.
Got you. Okay, we will. Melissa, did you have anything else before we move on? Okay, thank you much. We will move to the consent agenda. All we have this month is the meeting minutes from April. If I could have a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Carries unanimous, one absent. We don't have any unfinished business, so we will move into new business. So Melissa, I will let you take over once again.
So at the November 2021 Arts Commission meeting, the commission approved 3 locations for temporary public art for a rotating art program within the Raymore Park system over the next 3 years. The Public Art Committee does wish to add a second piece of art this fiscal year, and it would be at one of the trailheads of the Eagle Glen Trail area. So if approved, we would set $4,000 aside, which $3,000 would go to the artist, half at the beginning, half at the end of the 2-year term, and the extra $1,000 would be put in a restricted fund for any maintenance, paying for the concrete, to create the pad, that sort of thing. So generally, in your budget breakdown, there's $7,500 a year allotted to public art. This would just take you over by $500 with the first piece of public art, and the second would be $8,000 total. It's doable, and so there are funds in the commission has the funds to do it now. And what we would do is, if approved, put out a new Culver art just this summer, and then plan for an early fall installation.
Okay, if I could have a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any questions?
Just one quick question. So the thought would be probably with rotating art that the cost would be higher the first year when we get the pad, all of that, and then it would tear down a little bit in a second cycle in 6 years or 2 years or whatever.
Correct. We would still put $4,000 per piece. There could be a time where we don't have to, when we have enough in reserve, where we could change that, certainly. But yeah, the idea was that extra money could be used for a larger piece or additional art in the future as that fund built up.
Great.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Carries unanimous, 5-0, 1 absent. Thank you. Okay, last but not least, we will move into commissioner comments. As always, ladies first, so Randy, batter up.
No comments.
Ms. Berry,
No comments.
Mr. Young,
Just thank you, Melissa, as always, for all your help, and Mr. Eppert tonight. It was fantastic to kind of hear more about what's coming and get our minds percolating about new ideas for art.
Mr. Berry.
Just kind of echo some of those sentiments right there. You, Melissa, when you put it on the PDF, you gave us a link. You had me for an hour in front of my machine saying, "Ooh, that's cool, that's neat." So, I really appreciate what you guys are doing and what's coming. I can't wait to see how we can help. It's really important. I think it's exciting. I do have a question for Melissa. I mean, we're not going to see you until after summer scene, correct? So how would, anything you want to throw our way right now, or waiting for the details as it gets closer?
I will send an email, and if needed, we don't probably need to have a meeting, but I'll just communicate through email, so please do be checking your email. And then, yeah, we can figure out the scheduling. Would you all like me to send you calendar invites for the things you have signed up for so that you do not forget? Okay, I will do that. But yes, I will be in touch through email, and then I'll also be updating very soon all of the Facebook and the website information too, as I lock in those final details.
Okay, Melissa, as always, thank you. Dylan, thank you for your presentation, very informative. I am sure, as the rest of these guys, that you have given me more to surround in my brain. But guys, just be prepared, because I will probably likely start spitballing, so please check your emails. Let's get super active. I think in a lot of ways we've been given the green light, right? So I think, it's incumbent on us to take it and run with it, and see what we can cook up. We've always done some fantastic things, so I expect nothing less. And so we just need to continue and make the good work happen. Anybody have any further questions, comments, concerns? Okay, if there is nothing, then if I could have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Carries 5-0, 1 absent. Guys, thank you. Have a good evening. Stay as cool as you can. And dry next week, right? Have a good night, guys.